Hi everyone, welcome to my home. I'm recording this video from my kitchen. I've gotten a lot of questions about the mini presentation and I wanted to clear up some questions by making this video for you. I'd like to further explain the topics you can choose from. I know that's been a big question. And what exactly you're supposed to be presenting on. So not only will you get to watch me give a mini presentation, but I'm going to go over some information that will probably, hopefully, help you get started. So what you're going to do is you can pick a video, like an informative video, or a speech or something of that nature. I use the example of TED Talks quite a bit. In fact, that's what I'm going to give my presentation on. I'm going to be giving my I'm giving my mini presentation on Marina's 60-second story. We watched that in the beginning of class. It was part of our career unit. You guys wrote your own 60-second story based on the video that I'm going to be presenting on. So most of you, I hope, remember that video. Otherwise, you can check it out on our Moodle page. I think it's under week 3. That way, too, you can watch my speech and then see where I kind of pulled information from if you want. All right, so let's get back to the actual topics you can choose from and some nuts and bolts before we get started with my mini presentation. So you can pick, a video, like I said, you can pick a news article. It could be something from something like CNN or Fox News or any sort of informative news outlets, whether it be in print or on the web. BuzzFeed articles work. I really like a lot of stuff that Teen Vogue is doing, actually, so that might be something to look into. They're sort of like this revolutionary voice of your generation, which is pretty cool for when it was, popular when I was around. It was more of a fashion and music magazine. But anyway, we're getting outside the perspective of what this video is for. So let's get back to that. So you can think about your interests. Think about what you enjoy doing when you're not in class. Think about maybe the music you listen to or the TV shows you watch or some hobbies or interests that you have. And think of how that ties into stuff that we've talked about. And yes, this is a writing class, so obviously if it has to do with writing, that's awesome. But we've also talked about careers, we've talked about diversity, we've talked about community, social media, we've even talked about politics, we've talked about music, we've talked about so many different things that hopefully you can find a tie in to the class with something that you would enjoy learning more about. So once you have your article picked, there are 6 things that you are going to need to do for the presentation. You are going to need to figure out the main point or the main argument, or if you're looking at the rubric and you're thinking of those points in that way, think about what the thesis is. So you're going to then summarize the main points or like the supporting details of that argument and explain those to us. Next, you are going to do a rhetorical analysis. So how does the author use ethos, pathos, logos, and kairos? Do we see all of those elements in what you're analyzing? And talk about those kind of things. Next, you're going to talk about who the audience is and who is taking this content in. Who is it made for? Is it made for adults? Is it made for parents? Is it made for students? Is it specifically college students or high school students? You guys know audience. So next you will be thinking about or explaining to us what the genre is. So I've also had some questions on what genre means or what I mean when I want you to talk about the genre. So think about music. I mean, there is rock, rap, pop, country, electronica, and you can even break all those down further. That's an example of genre. Country music is a genre. So the things that I would expect you guys to say is maybe it's a parenting blog, or it is something written for families. It's a academic if you're looking at one of the textbooks. So if for some reason you find that you still have no idea what you are going to write about, you can look at something academic like a textbook. Grizz Writes is a great example. So is the writing spaces. There are several chapters in both of the volumes, which are linked to our page. You don't have to do something having to do with a textbook at all. It's just if you're really stuck and you want something straightforward and easy, there you go. There's, the links are right there in our middle page. So that would be an example of academic writing, obviously. So anything that, that writing or speech would fit into. There's Marina's is inspirational, so we'll talk about that more when we get there. And lastly, you want to talk about what you learned. What interests you? Why did you pick this topic? Did this argument change your mind about something? Did you I don't know, learn something from the perspective of the other side? You can basically say anything here. On, what inspired you, or, what interests you about this topic, anything like that. All right, so let's move on to the 60-second story that I'm sorry, I keep saying 60-second story. Let's move on to the mini presentation I'm going to give on the 60-second story. All right, so the person, or the author of this her name is Marina Morris. She is a young woman in her 20s, and she talks about her life in such a way to give us perspective on our lives. So the main idea, or the main point of her speech, is that we all have a 60-second story, and in order for us to live a full life or ultimately be happy, we need to look at our 60-second story and live that out every day. So 60-second story stands for, what do we stand for, what toughens us up, what have we overcome, what we remember, and what we yearn for. So she gives us examples of her life and talks to us about what she personally stands for, what has toughened her up, what she's overcome, so her life in her orphanage in Russia, being discriminated against for cerebral palsy. She remembers telling her mom that she loved her, and watching Little Mermaid, which I'm sure many of us can relate to. And lastly, what she yearns for. She yearns for every child to know the love of a family and to experience what it's like to be part of a stable home. Because for the first 6 years of her life, that's something that she didn't have, being that she was an orphan in Russia. So some of the rhetorical appeals that she uses is, the biggest one obviously is pathos. Like, by telling her story, she asks us to feel something and to think about ourselves the way that she has examined her life. Obviously, we feel sorry for the young child in the orphanage, and we feel sorry for the little girl that wasn't able to stay in art class because she couldn't cut straight. But we're really proud of the little girl that can finally tell her mother that she loves her. We laugh when she quotes Ariel and says thingamabob, and when she talks about Madeline. I mean, it's something relatable. So not only do we find some humor and stuff that she says, but maybe we'll feel nostalgia as well. I remember watching Madeline. So she also uses some ethos by telling us her story, even though, like, Marina is not, like, a well-known person. By telling us her story, she gives us credibility and helps us understand that not only does she have a story, but we all do, but we want to believe her, or we are more apt to write our own story because she tells us hers. If she can do it, basically she's saying that anybody can do it. Logos is probably the least prominent. It is when she talks about people being that there are different kinds of people. There are optimists, pessimists, and the realists. That's something that, psychology tells us, is that there are different types of people. By telling us different things about her life, different scenarios, maybe we aren't able to actually prove it, but it gives us a sense of who she is. We want to believe her, which goes back to ethos. But it also appeals to our logical senses in a way, because we do believe and trust her. We're taking what she's saying as facts. The audience is probably young adults, especially because this speech was given at Oakland University. I personally heard this speech the first time at our department meeting, and she explained it in a way for us as teachers to use her story to help teach our students and to help them figure out their 60-second story. That being said, it further proves that this is for young people, probably around her age and younger, but also for teachers, maybe parents, educators, to help young people develop their 60-second story. The genre is definitely inspirational. She wants us to feel something. She wants us to look at our own lives and to think about what makes us us. And by doing that, she wants us to be happy. A lot of the inspirational genre is about happiness and about love and power and different things. And by knowing our 60-second story, by knowing what makes us tick, that is giving us a sort of power, which goes along with the inspirational genre. Lastly, what I learned is that everybody has a story. She really made me think about myself and the different things that I stood for and what I need to feel that I have succeeded, or that I've achieved something in my life. I think about what I yearn for, and maybe I don't think about it every day, but it's something that I strive for, by making obtainable goals and different things like that. So that's basically my speech. It looks like I probably talked for about 6 minutes or more. Hopefully yours will go faster. If not, then we will sort of adjust time. Maybe we'll just make a 3 to 6 minute speech. Hopefully everybody will get done. Anyway, thank you for watching this. I hope this helped. If you need anything from me, you can email me. I'm available all day if you want to, go over anything, if you want to, practice, or you want to meet and talk about something. So anyway, hope you guys all have a great day and you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I will see you Thursday. Last thing. Just since we are at my house, this is Gracie. She's on the table and she's naughty, but she's super cute. How can you say no to that face? And of course, here is Minnie. She's what this presentation is all about. Do you like guacamole? Okay, look at her goofy little tail. Hey, Minnie, you good girl? Yeah, she's got a weird tail. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. And if you stayed long enough to see the dogs, then that's pretty awesome. Take care. Bye.